Hi there, Dell back here from Spartan Racing. Now we've finally got everything pretty much in place. There's going to be a few little minor changes and bits and pieces with the Trakracer just to get it a little bit more comfortable. So the main change is the seat. I just need it to tilt back a little bit further. Now, one of the issues I had with the seat was it is bolted directly to the next level motion, and I'll show you that down here. There's the next level motion there, and it's bolted directly. That's why I had to use these Sparco side plates, because I needed something that had a larger area here, because the seat is actually quite wide. And when I tried to bolt with the supplied Trakracer side plates, the seat wouldn't go anywhere near it, because I didn't want to. I wasn't just putting the seat directly onto 80/20. Like I said, it was going onto the next level motion. As you can see, these are the brackets. I've missed a screw unfortunately, but these are the brackets. They're a 5mm mild steel, and I got the correct distance out, welded them through the center, put on a 100mm drop, and drilled the holes down about 70mm, so the actual next level drops right into the Trakracer. The changes I did make going away from the initial plan was, even though I'm right-handed, I got really used to, with the R seat, having my keyboard and mouse on the left-hand side, because with the R seat there was no way of changing it to the right-hand side unless you were going to do some welding and cutting and bits and pieces. So I couldn't find a place really where to put the mouse, so what I did was I used the upright for the shifter, and sorry, this is the VR headset there, but the shifter mount, and screwed into the top of this upright, and then put an angle bracket in underneath. Unfortunately, this didn't have a thread in it, so I had a M8 tap. So what I did is I tapped out a hole so that the M8 screw could go in there. And now my mouse pad is just nicely out the way. The changes to the keyboard mount, what I had to do was put in an angle bracket top and bottom. These keyboard mounts, they have a tendency, when there's a little bit of weight, they actually loosen themselves, so the weight here is pushing down, and there's one screw holding this. This mount should be wider and have two screws in it, but what happens is with a bit of weight and a bit of movement, it was actually starting to tilt down. So I put an angle bracket top and bottom to stop that, so now that's working just fine. Slides out. The Fanatec mount I showed before fits up really nicely. I've still got some screws in here for where I had two DSD button boxes, one here and one here. Unfortunately, because of the way that the brackets are, the DSD button boxes don't fit in there, so I've either got to space the brackets for the DSD out further, or one of the things I was thinking of doing was actually getting a heat gun and bending the actual plate on where they mount to. There's a little bit of area you can bend, and bending them out, either that or just get rid of them, just sell them. But you can see I've got the DSD box mounted up here onto the arm. Now, the arm that comes supplied, they do suggest that you use some of these brackets, some of these swivels, but I actually didn't need the arm to move. And again, I had the same issue with the swivels, where they had a swivel in here and a swivel mounted down in around here in this one. Sorry for the focus, this one. And again, once it was under a bit of weight and a bit of movement, it had a tendency to sag. So what I did is I just used angle brackets, and I angle bracketed here and underneath, and I put one just here as well, just to brace it. And so far that works really well. This button box is just sitting in here with some rubber in underneath, so that they supply, and took the did a bit of a drive and had a bit of a bash around with the motion and everything running, and the button box didn't move at all, so that holds it really well in place. But I just found this worked a lot better for me. Now I've just used some cabling wraps at the moment from J-Car in Australia. I'm sure you can get them everywhere else, and just wrapped up all the cables at Husenfeld Sprints. Now the holes for the Husenfeld were a little tricky to find on this pedal plate. The only place I could actually get it to line up correctly with the ones on the Husenfeld was right at the very front of the pedal plate, because there's no other corresponding holes, and I really didn't want to drill into that metal because it's a really thick piece of metal. The shifter arm, as you can see, I'll move the VR headset, get that off of there, and my shifter and handbrake are mounted, a bit dusty. I've been going through and dusting things. They're mounted up, as you can see, pretty straightforward, and that's really solid. One thing, like I said, it is really a really rigid, super solid rig. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if you really want rigidity, 80/20 is definitely the way to go. But it's been trying. Unfortunately, some of the packaging wasn't exceptional. There was a lot of one of the bags split in the packaging, and there was screws and nuts and bolts everywhere, and some of them had got mislaid in transit, and they'd fallen out of one of the boxes. But again, the guys at Trakracer in Australia, straight onto it, express posted me out some replacements. It was one phone call, and the bits and pieces were out the following day. It was just exceptional service. I had a bit of a moment trying to get this button box to mount, and it's not the way it should be, but I just think it works better for my needs. It may not suit everybody else, but it does actually work better for what I'm trying to achieve. And it's like I said, it's nice and rigid. The red striping around it, normally there's enough red striping just to do the two sides, but because of the plates for the next level motion, I was able to cut the red striping and add a little bit around the back. Just kind of think it finishes up a bit nice. What I've done is my emergency stop button, I've just bolted to one of the uprights. It's a little bit far away in reality, but it doesn't really matter. It works okay for me. I can reach it, so that's not a problem. Going back to the seat itself, the seat's nice, it's nicely finished, but it's just a little straight up and down, and like I said, I just got to get a little bit more tilt. So I'm going to make some adjustments to these side plates. Because the side plates have a bit of a bend in them, I can't get this seat to come down any further because it puts too much stress on the screws and the nuts inside here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these off, and I'll bend these out a little bit straighter so that I've got a little bit more movement for that seat to go in. All it really needs to do is just tilt back one notch, and I think that'll be in a really good position. I don't have a seat runner on this to be able to move the seat backwards and forwards because I'm the only one who really uses this. So, you know, I've set it up for the way I want it so that I don't have to keep adjusting it and sliding backwards and forwards. There's no need for that. But other than that, so far it's a solid piece of kit, and it really does hold itself together really well. I said it's from the time of delivery to construction to getting the making these plates. It's been about a 2-week project. There has been, like I said, a couple of challenges I mentioned in the other videos. The challenges really were the packaging wasn't what I would call 100%, but you know, there was nothing overtly damaged. A few scratches and bits and pieces from the nuts and bolts moving around, but nothing I can't live with. And the instructions, well, the instructions are pretty ordinary. There's been a few people on social media sort of having a go about the instructions, and they're not great. I mean, they're basically just CAD drawings, but when you look at the instructions for some other systems that I've had, it's bolt A goes into hole A and bolt B and hole B, and it's all nicely laid out and packaged and very well put together. But it was really ordinary. So that's the biggest complaint I got. Having said that, the guys at Trakracer in Australia have been exceptionally good with their customer support. And again, I think these are just teething issues. It's something that they will get on top of. There's by no means should this stop you from looking at investing one of these. You just need to take some time. You need to just not be in a rush to put it together. Unfortunately, I was being putting it together in like 40-degree heat, so I was sweating like crazy. And of course, when you start doing things like that, you start getting really frustrated. But once it's actually now together, I'm really happy with it, and it just it takes up a lot less room than my R seat, I can tell you, and it just finishes up really nicely. Oh, the mat, by the way, underneath is just a thick rubber mat that I got from a hardware store. Dense rubber, just protects the carpet underneath. I had it under my R seat, and I thought, well, I'll keep it under this one. It was really cheap, so I just got two pieces, joined them together. And yeah, that's about it so far. So I've had a quick go in iRacing, and have had a couple of nice crashes into the wall to see how much this thing would vibrate and shake around. And I was expecting the button box to actually fall out of the arm like it used to in my R seat, but didn't move at all. It was really stable. So it's just it's a good system, but take your time and don't rush. And the thing that you do have is the ability to change things around, which is one of the beauty of these 80/20 systems, is you don't have to necessarily follow the rules. You can move things around. That's what I've done, and I've got it sort of how I want. I don't care about screens or mounts. I just race in VR, so it works well for me. Anyway, I hope you guys get something out of this, and thank you very much. Appreciate the comments, appreciate the feedback, and appreciate all the subscriptions. So hit the like, hit the subscribe button. It really helps out. Thank you.